We all live in a very strange time. In fact, the world's getting more stranger the further we go along. I remember when I was a kid, the world was pretty scary, but now it's just bloody weird. And because it's weird, it becomes kind of uncertain. And most of us are worried about things that we have no control over. But why do we worry? Why do we worry about things we have no control over? God only knows. But this is important because we worry so much, what that does, that has an effect on our emotional and physical well-being, as well as our mental health. Now, the thing is, that's very dangerous. But the good news is, it doesn't have to be like that. We don't have to worry about anything. In fact, you can stop worrying right now, and it's easier than you think. And in this video, you're going to find out exactly how to stop worrying.
Analyzing the news.
Okay, let's look at this. Let's talk about something that we all deal with most of our lives, which is worry and the blockage that we have in our frontal cortex or frontal lobe, that demon, that anxiety, that stress that we call worry. You see, worry is that feeling that you get when your mind keeps spinning around like something might go wrong, like something bad's going to happen. You worry about the future. You worry about what's going to happen next. Oh God, it's terrible. It's scary. I'm worrying myself sick, which in fact, people can do that. I know it sounds ludicrous, but you can worry yourself sick. Heart disease is the biggest killer, and that's caused through stress. Where does stress come from? The mind. What's happening in the mind to create the stress? Worry. You're worried about stuff all the bloody time. It could be about money, it could be about work, it could be about family or your health, or even something small like what someone thinks about you. That's a big one, isn't it? The concern and the worry about what other people think. And I think everyone does that, don't we, to an extent? What is that bloody dog doing? Harley, pack it in. He's mad, isn't he? Sometimes worry can help us plan ahead, but most of the time it just makes us feel stuck, and we don't want to be in a stuck position, do we? We want to grow, we want to expand, we want to evolve, we want to become a better version of ourselves. And don't worry, you're going to find out exactly how you can do that. It can also mess with our sleep, it can mess with our mood, and it can even make our body feel sick and tired. In other words, a low vibrational state. That means instead of expressing yourself, you're suppressing, which creates anxiety, and you don't want that, do you? So let's look at the positive things. So what causes worry in the first place? Because once we understand what causes it, then technically we can get rid of it. Worry comes from one main thing: fear of the unknown. In other words, if you can't see something, you can't make sense of it. If you can't make sense of it, then it creates worry, concern, fear, and these are all low vibrational negative emotions that you do not want to feel. You want to feel brave, strong, in control. But worry, when you're in a state of worry, you feel that you're not in a state of control because you're anxious, you're concerned. You see, our brains hate not knowing what's going to happen. If your brain senses that something might go wrong, it then tries to fix it. It tries to fix the problem by thinking about it over and over and over again. It's like a loop. It's driving you bloody mad. So from there, you then start playing out the worst case scenarios, and you start thinking about them and meditating on them and daydreaming about them and creating an image in your mind so they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And what it does, it creates a deep-rooted insecurity, and that could be something like, what if I lose my job? Or what if they don't like me? Or what if I mess it up? What if something goes wrong? What if Armageddon comes? What if? There's no what if, it's all bull crap. It's a waste of energy, but it's a very powerful energy, and it's affecting you right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn it around. I'm going to show you how to do that very soon, don't worry. You've got to recognize that your brain thinks it's helping you when it's not, because really it's just wearing you out. It takes a lot of energy to worry. You do know that, don't you? But when you're confident, you feel light. But when you're worrying, you feel heavy. Worry can also come in the form of a feeling like you don't have control, like we mentioned before. When life feels too big or too fast, your brain starts to panic. It starts to think in a different way. Now, if it thinks about this more, maybe it's going to escalate a lot bigger than it initially was. The whole thing about worrying, it doesn't work. It's a waste of time, but it sucks the bloody life out of you. So you have to stop worrying. When? Immediately. Do not do it. Oh, that's easier said than done. You say, okay, I'll just stop worrying, but there's a problem. What do I do to replace that worry? If I'm not going to worry, I have to put something in place of it, because I can't stop, because I've been doing it that long that it's become a habitual. In other words, I do it automatically. I can't help it. The good news is you can do anything you want. Once you understand what worrying is, he nearly bloody killed me then, but I'm not worried. So just recognize that when you're worrying over and over again, which you do automatically, instead of it benefiting you, what it does, it just makes you feel more anxious. You know this because you've experienced it. This isn't new, but this isn't about learning. This is about understanding. If something isn't working, you have to do something else. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to replace it. The old habit, because that's what it was, or what it is, the old habit of worrying and concern, and we're going to replace it with a new positive one. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. I like that. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. Here are the top 10 ways to stop worrying and why they work. These are things that you can start using today, and they are really the best ways, and they do work if you practice them. And I can assure you they do work, but again, you've got to practice them. You can have all the knowledge and all the answers to everything you ever wish for, but unless you implement them, unless you actively do them, it ain't going to work. Practice makes perfect. You've got to practice what I'm going to suggest, and if you do, you bloody just watch what happens. Everything will change. Okay, here is the first one. Number one would be write it down. One of the best ways to stop worrying is to write your thoughts down on paper. Instead of holding it in your head and letting it spin around like a broken record, what you do, you put it into physical form. That means it's out your head and now it's on paper. That alone is going to create a separation. Because you see, when your thoughts are still in your head, they feel big and messy. But when you see them on paper, they often look smaller and they can be a lot easier to manage and handle. In other words, you've got control of them now because you can physically see the buggers. You could say it's like taking a weight off your mind. So try this. Write a list of what you're worried about, then write what you can control and what you can't control. So when you've got an anxious thought spinning around in your head and you're concerned about it, just stop and go, wait a minute, can I do anything about it? Am I in control of it? If the answer is yes, then do something about it. If the answer is no, then let go. Simple as that. So with that, at the same time, what you really need to do is number two, which is focus on the present moment. Now, I'm assuming you know what the present moment is, but if you don't, it means stop right now. That's the present moment. Try it. But most of us don't. Most of us live in the past or the future. That's worry. That's where worrying is created. That's where it's escalated. But it cannot escalate when you're in the present moment. Again, when you stop, say there's no problem. So again, recognize that worry lives in the future. It's about things that haven't happened yet. So again, if you're in the present, you're not in the future. So this worry can't manifest. It can't do it. It has to be in the future, because that's where worrying is created. So don't live in the future, live in the present. Plan for the future, of course, but do not bloody live in it, because that's where worrying manifests. That's the foundation of where it grows. But again, if you're in the present, it can't grow. Can't grow. I'm going to give you a little clue now, a little trick. You like this? To stop worrying, bring your attention back to right now. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I have to keep repeating it because we're creatures of habit. We do things by repetition, control, programming, habitual. We do it over and over and over and over again. And then we ask ourselves, why do I feel like this? Again, it's because you've done it on autopilot. Vaughn, it's that way. We're taking the dog for a walk, but she keeps on going that way. But because I'm conditioned and I'm programmed, I know that that's the right way because I've done it over and over again. And that's exactly how your brain works. And that's how your brain works. So just remember these techniques. You see, you can do this with something called grounding. Look around the room that you're in or wherever you are, and then name 3 things that you see. 2 things you can touch and 1 thing you can hear. That's when you're tapping into your sensory awareness. Because remember, you see the world through your 5 senses. That's how you make sense of the world around you. Now, you probably know that, but you're not aware of it because you don't practice it. You practice worrying at an unconscious level. That's why you worry all the time. So practice something else. You see, when you do this, this brings your mind back to the real world and not out there in the external world where all worrying and concern and future events might or might not happen. Step number 3 or trick number 3, this is a big one of mine. I like this one. This is very powerful, which is move your body, because worry builds up energy in your body. That's why you feel restless and tense. But when you're moving, can't happen, mate. You can't be stiff when you're in a relaxed state. It doesn't work. It's like the law of polarity. You can't have one without the other. The 2 separate entities. You can't be still and moving at the same time. So again, the best way to burn off that stress is literally just to move your body. Maybe go for a walk, stretch your body, have a dance. Even 5 minutes of movement can literally reset your mood. And if you don't believe me, do it now. Press pause and just start dancing around. Guarantee you'll change your state like that. Because emotion is motion. The more you move, the more you groove. Step number 4 is breathe slowly and deeply, because when you're worried, your breathing gets fast and shallow. That tells your brain that something is wrong. Again, that will roll over to anxiety, which is another word for fear, and you don't want it to escalate to that. We want to slow it down. So again, when you're worried, focus on your breathing, because your breathing gets heavier, fast and shallow. Again, that tells your brain that something's wrong, even though it bloody isn't. It's just a trick of the mind. Have you ever found that you're worried and you don't even know what you're worried about? It's because you're doing it that much subconsciously that you don't even have to do it. You just find yourself worrying about anything. You're getting really good at this worrying lark. But why don't you try and get really good at being confident? Because you can do it. Slow breathing does the opposite. It literally tells your brain that it's safe, that we're safe, that you're safe. Try this. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Then breathe out for 4 seconds, then hold it for 4 seconds. Do that a few times and you'll literally feel calmer. If you do it now, you'll feel the benefits of it. Don't just take what I'm saying and just get rid of it. Just try it. Just do that little thing now. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 4 seconds. And instantly you'll become calmer. Guaranteed. If you're struggling with that, what you could do is talk to someone that you trust. Worrying grows in silence. You see that? If you share it, if you expose it, the worries don't live in the light, they live in the shadows. Tell a friend what you're feeling or how you're feeling. Or talk to a family member, even if they can't fix a problem. Just bring them on board, because then you're sharing. Problem shared is a problem halved. Is that what they say? There's some truth in that. Again, let me repeat that. Worry grows in silence. If you put a light on it, it can't exist. You can't be worrying when you've got people around you and they're all listening to your concerns, because the worry can't exist. It has to come out. It's like a liar. You know, they say the devil on the shoulder, like Satan, the devil. It's a liar, and that's what worry is. It's a trick. It takes all your energy and gives you nothing back. You don't want that, do you? That's crazy. What's the bloody point? Why would you waste your energy on worrying? But now you're becoming aware of it, the less likely you are going to do it. So when you feel that you're worrying, just go, wait a minute, I know what this is. I played this game before. I'm not going to benefit from it. It's just going to suck the life out of me. I'm going to make myself sick. Why am I bloody doing it? So then you create a separation. You stop and go, no, I ain't playing this game. I've done it too many times. It doesn't work. So always remember this. Just take action. This is step number 6. Even small steps. Worry often shows up when you don't do anything. If you don't do anything, nothing's going to change. If you don't try to change, nothing will change. Worry often shows up when you don't do anything. So you've got to take action. Like I said, even small steps towards solving the problem will help, because now you're changing it. If you're worried about your health, maybe it's a good idea on booking a medical appointment with your doctor. Get it checked out instead of worrying yourself sick about it. Go and find out what your concerns are, and then you've got an answer, instead of making up some sort of nightmare in your mind of what it could be. Just go and get it checked out. And I know it's scary, because some people think, I don't want to get it checked out because I don't want to hear my worst fears come true. But by not doing that, you're just going to worry, which is going to zap the life out of you and make things 1,000 times worse. It works every time, no exception. Remember, worrying and breathing heavy, yeah? Maybe I should worry about that, but I ain't. It's because I'm walking up a bloody hill. Look at it. It's mad, isn't it? I'm not going to worry about it. Once you understand your brain and how your brain works, you'll realize that small actions can stop your brain from spiraling, because you're giving your brain direction. You're setting simple paths, steps, and that's good for us, because now you become critical thinker instead of just let your brain, your imagination run away with you. Number 7 would be set a worry time each day. This is funny, you'll like this. If you are consistent worrying, what you could do, and this is a brilliant thing, what you could do, say to yourself, right, instead of worrying constantly over and over again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set a specific time each day to worry. So let's use an example. Say 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to sit there, and I'm just going to sit there and worry for 10 minutes. But I'm not going to worry until that time. What'll happen when that time comes and you're sitting there and you've allotted that time to just worry, what you'll find is your brain can't do it. You'll think, this is silly. Because now what you're doing, you're putting light onto it. You're putting a big spotlight onto this time slot of worry and concern, and your brain won't be able to do it, because again, you're doing it consciously. Worrying happens at an unconscious level. Not initially at first, you have to do it consciously, but eventually it goes into your subconscious, and then it's on autopilot. It's amazing stuff once you understand how your subconscious works. Okay, here is number 8. You'll like this one. What you should do is remind yourself what's in your control. There are some things that you can control, and there are some things that you can't. Remember, what can you control? Remember, worrying comes from not being able to control things. This is so important that you recognize this. Worrying about stuff you can't control is like trying to stop the rain. You can't do it. You're not God. You can't do it. Just let it be. It's a waste of energy. So again, very simply, ask yourself, can I control this? Is the answer no? If it is, then let go. If the answer is yes, then do something about it. Number 9 is limit the news and social media. I know this channel is called Analysing the News, but what I do, I don't put it out there in a negative way. What I try to do is break the news down so you can understand it in a more positive, realistic way, instead of getting terrified by it, because the news is terrifying. And there's a reason why it's terrifying. It's done that deliberately so it grabs the attention of people. Bad news sells and all that, because we're attracted to drama for some reason. We're all attracted to drama. And you might say, oh, well, I'm not, but if you see a fight in the street, you're going to go, oh, what's going on there? You just automatically look, because in theory, it's a threat, isn't it? And you have to watch out for threats. So the media use that scare tactic to grab your attention. That's why the news is so negative. Not because the world's negative. It's because they recognize that by telling you a negative story, it's going to get your attention. And the news is full of negative information, and we're consuming that information, which is going straight into our unconscious mind. And that's why we're bloody terrified all the time and full of anxiety, and we're worrying about the future. Don't watch it. Don't watch the news. It is kind of true, isn't it? When you think about it more, you see bad headlines and you compare that with your life, And do you say, is it going to affect my life? And then you look at people who've seamlessly got everything, like rich and famous people, and then you idolize them and you think, well, they've got this, but I haven't. So that makes you feel very insecure because you're looking at other people's lives thinking their life's better than mine. But the truth is, it isn't. It's smoke and mirrors, really. I always think it's a really good idea and it's okay to take breaks. You don't need to be online 24/7. Your peace is more important. That means just empty your mind, let go, just think of nothing, or just go for a walk in the woods and just look at a tree, just be present, because that'll calm you down as well. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stay in a calm, present state, because when we're in that state, we can't become anxious because, again, we're living in the present moment. So try turning off your phone for 1 hour a day. You'll feel the difference. Here's another one, which is a really interesting thing that you should adopt in your life, which is number 10, which is appreciation. In other words, practice gratitude. This one is so simple but extremely powerful. If you can do this, which you can, do this every day. Name 3 things that you're thankful for. It could be anything. Your home, maybe a warm drink, a friend, anything really that's going to put you in a state of gratitude, because now you're in a state of appreciation. When you're in a state of appreciation, you thrive and you grow. It's like that saying, isn't it? God helps those who help themselves. If someone appreciates you, you're going to do more for them. When you focus on what's good, your brain stops looking for what's wrong. Let me repeat that. When you focus on what's good, your brain stops looking for what's wrong. It looks at the positive aspects of life instead of the negative. Again, this will eliminate worry and concern. So you need to train your brain to feel safe. And you do that through gratitude, not scarcity. So why these top 10 steps work? These steps work because they speak to the brain's language, the algorithms, if you like. They calm the part of your brain that's stuck in danger mode. And it's basically rewriting another script. What it'll do, it will help you feel safe and in control and focus. And it will help you focus on the present moment. I can't overstimulate that word. I cannot say that word enough. The present moment is where the power is. And the best part of it, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to practice. That's all you do, practice. Because we all know a little bit, each day goes a long way. So let's just clarify. I know this video has been a long one, but it's really important because most of us have experienced worry and concern most of our lives. But if you do these little steps, these 10 things, you could literally eliminate worry permanently. And you can do it today. So just practice, and then eventually, over time, you'll become better at it. You'll become more present. And then worrying will be a thing of the past.